Hi, my name is Justin Ornette Graham.
And I'm Nariba Shepherd.
And this is Terms of Service. Black History Month, okay? And I know that we can give a little bit more.
Don't ask for any more
I'm
energy.
I'm saying it for me. Babe.
Okay.
I was like, let's go Black History.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, let's go,
I
let's
know
go.
we can get a little more energy.
Yeah,
I'm giving all I got.
Listen, I was
I'm
like,
black. This is my history.
you know, I was like, we
Thank you.
live in it right now. Okay, it's just like, and we really have to, start pushing the additional narrative of it's not Black History Month, it's Black Futures. Okay, so
I mean,
like,
theoretically speaking, it doesn't exist anymore due to all of the ordinances. Listen, we gotta live in the reality that is happening. We cannot continue to be like,
I'm living in
the future is not looking good, my dude.
Well, you know what? It's just like
America. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. But you know what? I'm gonna do my best.
Oh my God. I feel like this is going to be a situation where you have Black Boy Joy and I'm like crippling anxiety and depression.
Listen.
Black girl world.
Well, I'm going to say because like my whole thing right now, because obviously this episode is going to drop after my birthday,
because it's 2 days away from now.
It is 2 days away from now.
Yes.
But I think that it's really important for the journey that I have tried to commit myself to is to ensure in the best way possible is that I feel like I am not only filling the cups of others, but also ensuring that mine is filled. I want to feel fulfilled. Like that's my whole ambition.
Are you going
for
to therapy? Are you thinking about going to therapy? Because you cannot fix your... Laura who?
I'm not going to put her last name out here.
You have a therapist?
I do.
I am proud of you.
Thank you so very much.
Oh my God.
So I was like, that's a Black Boy Joy, okay?
All right.
Just like,
shout out to you.
Shout out to the white woman helping me achieve Black Boy Joy. It's okay. She was referred to me by a Black woman,
No, I'm not saying anything about her being a white woman. I'm just saying.
It's okay.
They're allowed to be therapists too.
I did not say that they were not. But thank you so very much for the clarification. Yes. And so, that's my biggest thing. That's my significant ambition. And I feel for a very considerable amount of my life as I am only getting older, it's the first true commitment that I have made towards myself. And for that, I am very, very grateful. The result is yet to be seen, but the journey I have committed to, and I am embarking on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I exist as a Black woman every day in this world. So my journey is the same. I just want to be heard from time to time on occasion and treated like a human being. And, when I say something, I want it to be heard in the moment and not 3 years later from a white man's mouth. So, yeah.
That's very valid.
I'm still like out here just fighting for my life.
Just like I was like, but
that's
same,
all I got for you.
But it's same.
I know, but you're like in the honeymoon phase of mental health finding, which is like,
okay, valid.
You're like talking about things you've never spoken about before. You're getting endorphins from the release of the pressures, like et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
I am more than 8 years deep in the therapy game. So there's gonna come a moment where you feel too emotionally educated and the world becomes bleak again. But you are also an Aquarius, so
Aquarius
you're gonna make it. Yeah, you're in your.
Just like I'm trying.
You're in your sun right now.
And hopefully my stars as well.
I don't know about the stars.
I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know about the stars.
Yeah.
But love, how are you? I know right now but how are you? I just want to tap in, check in.
My whole like ramble just now
but
about
then
being
also,
a Black woman.
But
that's
also,
where I'm at.
it's just like present in this moment.
Oh, present in this
episode.
moment? I feel like shit.
Okay, well, you know what? We're going to make it be so much
Okay,
better.
cool.
We're going to make it be so much better. So much better.
Just shout out to flu season right now. Y'all need to take this shit for real, for real.
Facts.
Justin is going to try to hide the fact that I'm wearing a mask with all of the photos that he chooses to post, but no, that I did my part and I wore a mask.
Yeah, no, but those photos will exist, and you will have them.
I heard you give JoJo directions.
That's entirely. Listen. I was like, ain't nothing against it. Okay,
I know,
I'm just like,
I know.
you know, it's gonna be all encompassing.
Trying to market this mask.
That's fair. You know, I don't think the mask don't need no market. You know, like no marketing. Okay, that's your girl. Yep. I love that.
It's my emotional support mannequin, courtesy of Blind Barber.
Heard that. Well, on that
I
note,
think we dilly-dallied enough.
Yeah. But then also, we have a guest.
Well, that's what I meant. I think we dilly-dallied enough. There's not a but also. I made the introduction.
That's fair.
Try to co-opt it.
Well, we're about to
just like a man.
Anyway, we're about to slide into this introduction. So not only a personal friend, a brand supporter, and an all-around, like, cultural fucking, like, icon, dude. Lavell. Lavell, please come to the mic.
You are way
Introduce
too
yourself.
kind.
You know, and like I can, but it's all factual, because when we talked about this, and then I was, you know, kind of sending some texts and like some DMs, and they're like, oh, like what's going on, blah blah blah. It's like every single response was just like, oh, like Lavell, and I was like, oh, whoa, yeah. And I was just like, oh, like it's not like Terms of Service or like Justin or Nariba or Max or, you know, JoJo or any of the team. And it's nothing against that. It just is a true representation of how you're viewed in the community. And for that, we're eternally grateful.
Well, thank you. Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, of course.
I'm sitting here listening to y'all, and a couple of things. Well, 3 things, actually. We
Count
have
them
to
down.
Get out there.
Count them down. Let's go.
I used to have my own radio show, and I'm used to being in y'all's shoes. And I'm usually very, I guess, scatterbrained, but I think as I talk. And so it's one of the reasons why I would always rather be a host.
Listen, we going on a whole journey. We going on a whole journey. As you've seen it before.
Yeah.
You've heard it.
Yeah.
You know,
and
it's just like, you know.
I'm excited because anytime I get to just be involved in this art form, you know what I mean? It makes me feel like I'm doing some cool shit.
Yes.
You know, versus that. Can I say shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can say worse.
You can say whatever you want.
Than that. You can say whatever you want.
It makes me feel like I'm doing some
This is not
cool
for kids.
Shit. And like versus just that everyday wake up, you know, and do the thing, the work, you know. And eventually, even if it's something that you're passionate about, it turns into work if it becomes so repetitive. You know what I mean?
Listen. Yes. As I sit here, I'm like, this is work. People are like, how many jobs you got? All of them.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, on that note, I love hearing you talk, because when you said you had mentioned wanting to be heard. I'm sober right now. I'm not. I wish I was high for that moment, because it would the power in that statement would have been magnified. But I felt that. I'm like, damn, because you sound like a warrior. Every time you open your mouth,
Thank
you sound like a warrior. And
that is the nicest thing that someone could say to me. Really, thank you.
Well, I just want to give
our warrior.
I want to give you your flowers. I want to give both of you your flowers, because you're right. Instead of just focusing on, we fall into this habit of just, I guess, the performative giving flowers to those that came before us, and we tend to lose sight of the people that's doing things now in the present. And this is a testament to that. And you guys are a testament. Give people their flowers now. I would hate to show up at y'all funeral, talk about
No
some
flowers.
man. I only had
You said with no flowers.
That's crazy.
You know,
with no flowers is crazy.
and that's how people can feel hurt. Like, you know, like, listen, what y'all doing is amazing. And I see it, I hear it. If there's any way that I can be a part of it, I will. And things of that nature.
What's your sign?
I'm a Leo.
That's what I thought.
See, but
That's what I thought.
What is that?
All right, Nuri, but I'm not going to say
Listen.
that. Go ahead.
Blood, sweat, and tears every day, all day, over the plight of the Leo. It's not their fault. They were just born that way.
What do you mean?
When's your
exactly?
birthday?
August 12th. I'm very much Simba on the inside.
Leos?
I'm Mufasa on the outside. I'm Mufasa presented,
Yes.
but I'm Simba.
Okay,
Oh,
well
Simba.
that is basically how you describe a fucking Leo. They walk around, talk a big game, doing the whole thing, but a lot of it is to cover up what they perceive to be their own insecurities. But it's like, I don't know. It's why?
Well, what's funny, and I will, if I may, we have had just a handful of Leos.
Yeah.
And it has, the conversation has always been
I say it's
phenomenal.
positive attributes and
Yeah,
stuff. It's
yeah.
my personal feeling.
No,
it's like how
no,
people
for sure.
don't fuck with Pisces. I'm not really a Leo bitch.
That's on them.
And I think it's because I am an Aries. I am running the fire sign.
That's fair.
And Leos, it's
Right.
not your fault.
Right.
I know a lot of Leos. I like a lot of Leos, but most of them
But let me
never evolve into a Charizard.
Let me.
You know?
Bitch.
Just,
Hey, you know what? God, dog. That
But hold
literally
on. But
just
hold
hit me
on.
in the
Yeah. But
chest.
hold on. Hold on. Now. Hold on. So
Dochi's a Leo. I like Dochi.
Okay,
Dochi's
that
a
checks
Leo?
out.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
checks
That
out.
makes
Okay,
sense.
like, I mean,
Yeah.
and we love Dochi over here, and so I feel
Best
like
rap album
they're.
of the year.
Let's go. I thought we were about to sing it. I was like, nah, ain't no licensing on that. Sorry.
I know.
was just
I
like,
know the
shit,
rules.
No, I'm saying it for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was just like, yeah, I fuck with her heavy. But so I just wanted to mention that with some of the conversations that we have had in the past, which I don't want to focus on, I only want to acknowledge.
Okay.
There's been a little bit of a disconnect, but I see such a bridge of action through the entire time that I've known of you, that I've known you, to where I am a little surprised. He's a Leo. I had no idea.
I have tainted Justin
Well,
for Leos. That's my
wait,
bad.
what?
No.
So-
Leos have tainted Justin on Leos.
I
Oh,
guess-
so why were you trying to do Leo erasure and have me not say bad things about Leos? I'll say bad things about anyone.
I was like that.
Equally. I'm an equal opportunist
she
shit talker.
is cold-blooded.
Cold.
But listen,
Cold and
I-
straight with it.
It's
Straight with
a
it,
little
and
bit
I love her
more
so much.
rocky today too because it's just Dayquil in here, you know.
You know,
I feel that.
Just like,
So we about to,
like we chilling
we
out.
about to get you in the raw.
Yes.
I love
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and today's a drinking episode,
just
so
like-
Yeah.
pop
yeah,
off.
yeah,
It's a
it is.
tasting episode.
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I
So
mean.
wait, before we get into any heavy content,
Yeah,
because
no,
I feel
no.
like we're gonna fall down somewhat of a rabbit hole.
Oh
today.
yeah, the whole time.
Talking about Leo erasure.
Well, yeah. Let's
Like
Only if
let's-
you
Yeah, you're like,
believe.
wait.
let's talk about that for a second. What about Leos can I debunk for y'all? Well, or
Do you really want to take on
I was
the,
just,
that?
I realized that was a poor choice.
Well, listen, this is the thing. It's kind of like generational trauma where like we always feel like we have to break the generational curse. No.
Kurt. Heard.
We could take steps.
Yeah, like you
Heard.
can't
We
do
can take
bad shit
steps.
and just excuse it, and everyone else has to make up for it.
Got it.
And
We just have to make better choices and hope that the next people see the better choices and continue that.
Okay.
You know? Shout out to everyone born before me. Y'all were raw dogging it, no internet, just asking each other for help.
Chill.
And
When were you born?
1990.
Oh.
I know. That's why I can say before me. Yeah.
Okay.
But no. I think like you don't have to take on that. And it was very Leo of you to be like, I can disprove. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Listen,
I can do anything.
I gave you you had a couple of passes by me of reading me. That was your last one.
Heard.
My God. Oh my God.
But
Layer,
I'm saying
layer.
though, let's real quick. What about Leos? What kind of experiences have y'all had with Leos where it's just like, all right, I'm
gonna get real with you.
Go for it.
Okay, so prior to the relationship with a Leo, I've had several. No. I'm saying, listen, I'm saying prior to that, I've had several experiences with Leos that have been horrible, specifically Leo men, and it's the combination of being raised as a man that is part of the problem, because we did a horrible job as a society making sure that like men think that they have to be very strict versions of providers and caregivers and everything, when it really just pushes mental illness further and further back, because that is seen as a weakness.
Especially in the black community.
Especially in the black community. And I'm talking about black Leo men specifically when I say this. It is part of the Leo trait to be like a lion. Like you are strong and fierce and all that. You can be all those things, but you don't have to like manipulate people along the way. And I think that has been a big thing. Like Leos don't realize that they're even doing it. They think that that is just how they exist in the world, to sort of like leave a breadcrumb trail of ideas that they think that people would be good at doing. They're not doing it in a bad way, but it comes across as such if you are not being fully truthful and honest about the reasons that you're saying and
feels
doing
like it
things. So
So every time she speaks, she is a warrior. Every time she speaks, it's a jab, it's a punch, it's a knockout, it's a hook.
Because I am a woman and bitches don't be listening.
Yep,
I have to like, you know
what?
When being kind doesn't work very often, especially in the society
Be
that we live
direct,
in.
be distinct.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
it must be exhausting to always be on like that.
No.
No?
I go to therapy.
Okay.
I know
okay.
what the setup
Heard,
is in here.
heard.
It's not exhausting because it's like it's when you're constantly living in survival mode, which it just as a woman doesn't matter like where you are in the world as a woman, ethnically, like what you look like, just literally being a woman and existing in the world is hard. And I think that I get frustrated with women or like not cis men who try to wield femininity in a way that focuses on the male gaze. Like you could be sweet, you could be femme, you could like pop off, do whatever, but don't be dishonest about who you are. And I think that a lot of people in the world think that being nice is a form of kindness when it's really something that they have weaponized to move forward in the world. That's why I'd be suspicious of people who are too kind. Because that is what we have been fed in the last 10 years in particular.
And full transparency, nobody has clocked me on that as an Aquarius, and
Everybody
just
thinks
think-
differently.
well, yeah, but I also see it as well, right? Because as a black man, as a queer man, it's just how hard are you trying to ruffle feathers, like when you're trying to build and so on and so forth. And for some people it can come across inauthentic, but then there are other people that just base you around your actions, but then some of your actions are anchored in a reaction, and that's the base.
Yeah.
That people
I
are
get
just
that.
like, okay, well, it's this, that, and the other. And the only thing that I will say, just as we wrap up this like Leo situation,
Yeah.
because it's giving very Leo that we're still talking about it right now, which I love,
Let's talk about me.
which I love. No, but which I love.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, but
Yes.
but you're but you're good. I just have found that there have been elements that I have shown, or that I have been shown over time, that I wanted to emulate, but I was just like, yo, that's like not me. But then I realized over time very quickly that it also wasn't them either, but it was how they were presenting, as we had talked about earlier.
Which has
So-
nothing to do with your sun sign, actually. It has to do with your rising sign. So unless you're a double Leo, then
Yeah, I'm not sure.
see, then
We're
we'll
about
have
to
to
figure
know.
that out.
Yeah,
We got to figure
I
that
never
out.
really paid much attention. I've always entertained the conversations around it, but I never really paid attention to zodiac signs and risings, moon, suns,
Yes,
That's
all of the things.
a reasonable gentleman. He hasn't been scarred by a woman who knows too much.
damn. Damn.
At least not yet.
Yeah,
there you go.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I was like, no, you're good.
If a guy, if a cis dude, heterosexual, knows his rising, I'm like, who broke you? Who?
Yeah, and here comes
been
JoJo being
broken.
like, he was like, yeah, he's like,
It's okay.
You know, the whole thing.
Hers.
All right, now we get into the game of it all.
But also,
yeah.
before we move on, how does that read? How does that translate? Are there certain aspects that are true? Some things it just because
Also,
it's all
I'm not a
relative,
doctor,
right?
so I'm not offended.
So I'm only thinking about certain things. I look at certain things you said about Leo men being manipulative and like leaving breadcrumbs and yada yada.
It's not just the men, but also the
her.
men. Yes.
I
The
think
person
about,
that I dated was a woman.
okay.
So, yeah. It's the same.
Yeah, I've only dated one Leo woman. Man.
How was that?
That was a long time. We were,
great.
We were
Yeah.
very young
Okay, great.
kids even. So
Yep.
it's nothing that I can't.
Well, this is a
even
grown
really
folks
speak to.
episode. Fast forward.
Exactly. But I think about how I want to say that my purpose is community, is service.
Yes.
And so I think about how I have conversations with people and they're telling me things about, you know what, this is a challenge for me, or I would pick up pieces of our conversation of things that seems like something that they're passionate about, they want to do. And I'll just go, well, you know, you can do, all you need to do is A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And they like, man, you make it seem like it's, you know, it's easier said
Doable.
than done.
Right.
And I'm like, man, it really is.
It's the casual ease of the Leo.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
what it is.
Yeah.
You're like,
I'm
kinda
kind of
do whatever you want. Yeah.
I'm kinda here for that.
And I realized maybe about 4 or 5 years ago that I do that a lot, which made me think that my passion is community and facilitate.
That's just like a fire sign trait. Leadership, facilitating, like group dynamics.
It's funny that you say that because I
You don't wanna be in
buy into
charge.
the leader. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
That is
like,
also
listen.
a fire sign trait.
Yeah.
Come at me, girl.
Let me just do this. Let me just do this in the backside, and then
Yes.
when I see you do it,
Yeah.
I'm like, I smile
yeah,
like a
yeah.
proud dad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay. And then I walk off into the sunset.
That's what I enjoy about being here with an Aquarius. He's in charge. I'm
Yeah.
just over here like chilling.
My mother's an Aquarius. My sister's an Aquarius. Me and my sister used to butt heads all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Because she thought she was just king shit or queen shit. And my little brother,
Yeah,
we
that
call
was
him
me
the
and my mom.
genius.
Shout out to Dolores. Oh my god.
My little brother, we call him the genius.
We best
He's an
friends now,
Aquarius.
though.
Oh,
See, me and my sister tight now.
Yeah.
It took a minute.
Oh,
but
listen. Yeah.
my little brother, it's 8 of us all together. My little brother, the genius, we're each other's biggest fans.
To the genius.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're each other's biggest. We call him the genius because he went to school for what is it? Engineering.
oh yeah.
And so it's just like an inside joke.
No, I mean,
You know.
like I got a cousin that's an engineer, and like the whole family's like,
Yeah.
oh, he's so smart. I was just like, okay,
He's
Marcus,
not.
because Marcus is gonna listen to this. Okay,
Yeah,
Marcus.
yeah.
But
You don't
yeah,
even want me near an engine. I can't do that.
that is the best response in regards to engineering.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I
yeah.
mean, to answer that question, yeah, I think about, and we wouldn't say manipulative. We would say we're charming. Because I was literally about to say, you mean charming?
I don't
Yeah,
even need to say anything in response to that.
Listen,
Y'all could just run it back and
Charming.
listen to him say it again.
You've been charmed a couple too
you've
many
been
times.
charmed. You know, you've been bedazzled by the wit.
Bedazzled, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I was like, we love a sprinkle. We love, we love all of that. But so, as we are now moving past
Yeah.
this point, and I would just like to say,
Yeah.
we are not anti-Leo on terms of service.
I am.
We it's,
Heard.
Listen,
I was
it's kind
gonna
of
say-
like no. It's the same analogy as a cab. You're gonna say not all cops are bad, but
Yo,
okay.
Oh my god.
Dang.
We're gonna figure it out. Okay?
I'm hurting over here.
No,
Listen.
no.
Well, that's because you're taking it personally. I'm
Nah,
talking about
nah,
Leos.
yeah.
I'm not talking about you.
You're right.
Thank
You're
you.
right. I am a special case. You're right. I'm me.
Yes, individual.
Individual.
Yes.
Me.
And on that note, who the hell are you?
I'm just a guy. Lavell Miller.
Yep.
Born and raised West Side Chicago.
Let's go.
K-Town.
All right, let's go.
Wait, what's K-Town? I'm not local.
K-Town is
What area?
an area in the West Side where all the streets start with K.
Okay. Heard.
Down.
And so, yeah, I was born and raised here. Cook County baby, just like most of us. Went to school at Proviso East High School.
Yeah.
And I went to higher education at Columbia College.
Cool.
I've heard of that place.
Yeah, went through the circuit. I did the thing. I tried to, or I didn't try. I did. I chased my dreams of being a famous musician, superstar, whatever you want to call it.
What was your tool of trade? Your instrument of preference?
I made hip hop music.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started as a poet, like in high school. I met who is now one of my closest friends. I don't really use
Would
the
you
term
say that you
best
were
friend
a
anymore.
poet and you didn't even know it? Sorry, it's for the white folks.
That's a
that are
bar.
listening. It's just like, and also like, shout out to the white folks that are listening. Okay.
Bars.
Yeah, bars. Mhm. They're gonna
Yeah,
be
I
like,
mean-
aren't you recording at a bar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Back when I was a hopeless romantic and lover boy, I used to write poems and stuff all the time. And I met one of my closest friends.
I love that.
I was a sophomore, he was a freshman. We had AP science together. He used to come in late
Flex.
all the time. Now, mind you, Miss 1990. This is back when the Nokia block phones was a thing.
I had one.
And me and my twin
I'm
brother
loving the
used to.
schooling.
I got a twin brother. We used to pass our phones. We shared a phone. We used to pass the phone to each other in between classes because we had people that we needed to T9 text. Remember
Yes.
T9
Oh my
text?
gosh.
That is
Jesus
a skill.
Christ.
That is
an
a
absolute skill.
And I didn't fully learn how to use it until it was on its way out the door. I was like, oh.
But I bet
this
you
is
never
how
forget it,
T9.
though.
No,
You
hell
will
no.
never
Because I
have-
know I'm ready.
You will
I'm ready.
never have the dexterity of a fucking middle school girl with a T9 phone in the year 2001.
I don't know because
I
I
wasn't
have
even-
never lost it. Like I will coach you out in
not
T9.
you.
Trust me.
I was like, your dexterity, because you learned it right on the way out. I was like blind texting.
Yeah,
okay?
I was just gonna say that's how we ended up learning how to text so fast.
Yeah,
I be seeing people text now. I'm like, how the hell? T9 used to have a whole phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I sent a whole ass email via text.
I recently looked up Nokias online to see if they were still making phones, and they are.
Are they?
Yes, but they're not like internet phones. So if you just want a regular ass phone, Nokia.
Yeah.
No, I'm good on that.
I do. I think I
Yeah,
want
man,
one.
those are the good old days, man. So he used to come to class real late all the time, and he used to always have like a freestyle. I don't know how we even got to that, but he used to freestyle all the time. And I walked out. I remember the first time that happened, I left that class thinking to myself, damn, man, that dude's so cool. Like, I want to be like him.
Yeah.
That's kind of led me to where I am today. I always saw what someone else doing. If I admired it, I tried to internalize it. Be like, okay, I could do that too.
May I say something on that? That is, I feel, a very unique trait. And I'm not going to throw out the zodiac sign or anything, but I feel like that's a very unique trait in character in general.
Yeah.
Because to emulate and to be inspired to go a direction that you feel fulfilled in, that is absolutely fucking beautiful.
Well, first, thank you.
Yeah,
Second,
I mean, it is. And
remember,
it's a hard thing to do because it's this selfless motion, right? Like you're kind of like, you're like, yeah,
sure.
I fuck with that, but then it's just like, but what about the shit that I fucked with? Or maybe I could like combine it with the other things that I'm doing. Like that sort of thought process is really important and really beautiful.
It's easy to say that now as a full adult human being
in hindsight.
with an identity, but you got to remember back when you're a teenager. Well, school is all about socialization, which is the process of learning, of putting into practice what you've learned at home and seeing how it works in real time.
But you have that innate confidence, though, right?
But that's like something that you can have innate confidence, but it grows when you grow. Because kids are very confident, and then they lose that confidence through socialization because hierarchies are developed and formed.
That part. That part.
But it takes a lot to like, especially when resources may not be what they should be, it takes a lot to have that confidence. That's why I feel like people who get into like the music industry or sports, especially from like low income or inner city communities, it's because they have to regain that confidence. They have to build that confidence. The confidence is what keeps you alive. It keeps you safe.
And it's almost through any means necessary.
It could also murder you.
Well, that starts at home.
Yeah.
Because to build on that, on your point, there's multiple levels of institutions that we think get us to the next level of wherever we're trying to go. But really, the underlying thing is they teach compliance.
Yes.
And home teaches. So if you have a parent that's like, sit down every time you moving around, or do as I say, not as I do, that's one of the most fundamental like areas or institutions that teach you compliance. So when you get into school, you're quiet.
Right.
You are timid.
Yeah.
You have anxiety. There's no one there, and you look as a child to your parents first and foremost.
Absolutely.
To give you that. So I remember I always share this story. My 8th grade graduation, my father took me outside. Everybody's laughing, crying, cheering. They crying because they ain't gonna. Some of them ain't gonna see each other the next year because we all going to high school and they going off to different high schools. He took me outside and was just like, "All right, congratulations, you got 4 years and then you become a grown adult and you don't have any room for error. So let me tell you now, your goal in life should be a student of life."
Wow.
And I was like, okay. I had to take it back some years when he first told me, through his parenting, hey, if you feel like I'm out of line or if I'm out of pocket for anything, feel free to tell me. Say it respectfully, but I'm not perfect. I'm human too.
Damn, that's crazy.
This is a man that he's gone through multiple levels of institution for compliance. He's a Marine. He was a Marine. He is a Mason. He is heavily into church, actively. And now he's a part of Divine Nine. And he was incarcerated.
Oh, wow.
Multiple levels of institutions that teaches compliance. And all he wanted was for me to think for myself. Even to him. Question everything. You can follow. There's nothing wrong with following and contributing to someone else's cause, but ask the questions that you need to ask until you feel right.
Right.
I guess I never thought about that in terms of like when my dad used to tell my mom and I all the fucking time, like, keep your eyes open, be observant, ask questions. Retrospectively, as the editor of a newspaper and a journalist, that makes sense why he would be saying that. But like, I don't know. I just always find that I'm paying attention because I think that more often than not, people are looking to get away with bullshit than actually doing something if they want to be seen.
Okay.
If you understand your child or the people that's close to you, if you understand their communication style versus leading with this false understanding that there's this base standard for communication styles, like everyone communicates the same, it's easy for you to get the message that I got in your own way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And he knew that I would get it. And my father, I guess he doesn't get enough credit. Black men, fathers don't get enough credit. These type, because I grew up still feel like to this day, I wish everybody had my father as a father, because
that's sweet.
No, he's not perfect, but what he's absolutely amazing at is forming an individual relationship with you, so he knows how to best communicate. Now he falls short of that sometimes, but that's when you can correct him and say, "This is," you know what I'm saying? And then he's like, if he gets it,
because he's focusing like cultivating it as well, like to the best of his ability.
Because he can't understand. He is understanding as he is. He may not always get it right off the bat, but he would definitely come back to you the next day or or 2 days later. He'll call you and be like, you know what, I was thinking about what you said, and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
There's progression.
Yeah.
There.
Growth.
Visible progression.
That's all we can ask for is character development.
Yeah. Anyways, here we go, falling down these rabbit holes.
That's what the whole conversation be like.
Yep.
You good?
Yeah, but then also it's just like it still translates into every aspect of this conversation because it's part of the anchoring of it, right? So, for people that are listening, it's just like we have found a lot of success because of these types of conversations and these journeys that people feel comfortable enough to share with us, because people are like, oh damn, like, because it becomes hyper reflective in a way as well.
Dude, you literally took because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you know what? This is very like, I know me, but you forget certain things.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at this man. I can't, like I said, sometimes I go off on a tangent or I get lost, but in my mind I'm like, just hear me out. I'm gonna hit a landing point. It's gonna just wait for the big
also
reveal.
That's like very much black people shit. Like, we can't just like say something. We gotta say some stuff.
True.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like,
We about to take you on the whole journey.
It'd be a lot on our mind.
We're gonna take you on the whole goddamn journey.
I'm at a bar with my homeboy, and every time we get together,
you build this one second ass drink before you even start talking about the fucking topic.
We start talking about the black plight and shit, and we're at a bar and it's nothing but white people, and I was
You're like, you think these people don't know?
no,
They don't know.
So I stopped him mid. Well, because we getting heated about whatever it is we talking about black shit. And I stopped. I'm like, wait, look at all these white people around us, and look at we got interrupted by this group that was laughing about something like they were mostly white women, and I'm like, look at them. They probably talking about some dumbass mundane shit like some freaking dogs or cats or some shit like that. Here it is. We got to spend our leisure time
to talk about some real...
this, and they get to live in complete bliss.
That's what I feel like, especially like going to school in the University of Vermont. It's like there's we had this like overheard on campus section, and my friend Kenna Lau, shout out to you, rocking it in Paris, being a model and shit now. But she like found this article and was like, Reba, I think this is us. And it was like black girl and Asian girl walking to class and was like, do you see that crazy white people shit that's going on? The black girl says, and then the Asian girl goes, you know, those white people aren't thinking about anything important today. And I'm like, it's not that it's not important. It's just that like our reality is very different from their reality. So and I feel this way about women. When women sit down and are having a conversation in a room full of men, we're like, what do you think they're talking about? Because we're talking about like everything. And no, this is a separate tangent that's going to go on about like friendships dynamics between men and women and women, men and men. But yeah, go back to what you were saying.
Well, and also super quick, it reminds me of literally an interaction that I had late last night / early this morning. There was just, a group of individuals to where, and when everyone listens to this, Super Bowl Sunday, yeah.
Go Eagles,
whatever.
birds.
Yeah,
Woo!
yes. But however, it was this big, kind of like bum rush towards me. It's just like, who are you rooting for? And I was like, Kendrick. And they're like, Kendrick isn't like a part of the Super Bowl.
Yes,
and I was
he
like,
is.
okay, I'm not gonna have this whole conversation. They're like, is it the Chiefs? Yeah. It's like, is it the Chiefs or is it the Birds? And I was just like, shout out to a friend and colleague that's here, at our home studio at Blind Barber. I'm fine with the Birds. I just don't know enough. And I'm entirely fine with that. However, I was completely like just taken over. Be like, you have to say that it's this. I was like, I don't have to say shit.
You should have just said, we're not like you.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah, no, I see it. Yeah. And it's part of nuance of Black experience, Black culture, and navigating these avenues that you're trying to carve out, just not only for your just existence, but for your ascension as well. And you were continuing, but I also want to make sure that we get to talk about everything that you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Don't skip it. I was like, that does not mean fast forward. I just, it's...
Man, right now we vibing.
This shit can
I feel
just
like
go.
we should be trying something while we're vibing for time and safety purposes.
And you guys are more than welcome to, if I were you.
Well, lead us, tell us where
you and
leading
also,
us.
Yeah.
You know what?
And what are you doing now?
So I'm the portfolio director, the Midwest portfolio director for Spearhead
Say with your whole
Spirits.
chest.
Why he is saying it with his whole chest.
Remember.
Come on, we talked about this last time. People don't have to be as loud as you to show excitement.
I'm more excited
Anyhow.
to be here.
Yeah.
So I'm the Midwest portfolio director for Spearhead Spirits. We're
right.
the first African imported spirits
Let's
portfolio
go.
here in the States. It's a sort of.
And I'm proud to host that. So that is why I'm
I know.
loud.
I'm not saying that you can't be loud. I'm saying you can't force other people to be loud. Excitement doesn't have to be loud.
I'm hella Simba.
Yeah.
I'm even more Simba when I can identify the loud person in the room. I'm like, all right, I'm just chill over here.
I was just,
Not saying that you.
I was just like, I was like,
I'm just saying.
yeah, I was just like,
I'm matching energy.
yeah,
now,
I was
usually-
like, Lavell looking at me right now. So I was like, right
Yeah.
now, I was like, dead to my face. Thank you.
we
yes.
we produce Vusa African vodka, Bayab African gin, and Sango African agave spirit. It was I guess more or less an inception slightly before and during the pandemic. Well, before the pandemic actually.
Before times.
Yeah, the before times. Remember that? Remember people fighting over toilet tissue?
Remember
Yeah, I
people
remember
fighting
that.
over fucking Popeye's chicken sandwiches?
Oh my
Okay, that. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I forgot about that shit.
Listen,
I didn't.
Somebody died.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm not a chicken sandwich girly.
Well, now they doing this whole thing with Don Julio and people are just
Racist.
up in arms.
Wait.
Dude,
That shit is
I'm the
racist.
only one that was like, okay.
It is a conspiracy.
We've seen this somewhere before. Remember what happened last time? Popeyes did some shit.
It is a conspiracy
I
theory.
have
They want us
zero-
to look
I
away.
have
They want us to
zero
look
comment.
away
I have
while they're
zero
taking
comment.
away our rights, eating fucking
Zero
fried chicken
comment.
and drinking Don Julio.
Don
Zero
Julio. No.
Not
comment.
anymore.
Get the hell
I
out
want
of
that
here.
Sango.
Get outta here. Yeah, so
Yeah.
let me go ahead and
Nuba's like, hand that over here. What's
Yeah.
going on?
I want to know about everyone. Well, I
So-
know about Bayab.
yeah, so real quick. The company is founded by two gentlemen, Christopher Frederick and Damola Tamian. They're both from Nigeria, but live in the UK. They were college friends or are college friends.
Yeah.
And the story goes they were at a bar. You know, the UK drinks a shit ton of gin. Sorry for saying shit.
Stop
but I-
apologizing.
Okay.
To who?
Okay.
Shit, fuck, damn.
The UK drinks a shit ton of gin, the largest in the world consumer. And they were at a bar that had a shit ton of gin. Asked them if they had any gin from Africa. Obviously, they didn't. So it took them 2 years to find a distillery. They found this distillery in KwaZulu-Natal, which is southeast South Africa.
Okay.
And I think along the lines of that journey, they decided, you know what, even if we did come up with a gin, a country would just lay claim to it. So let's source our botanicals. Well, let's do a couple of things. Let's source our botanicals throughout the continent so it could be a Pan-African gin, a Pan-African product. So Africa as a continent can be represented on back bars and homes around the world. Right?
Yes.
Because Africa as a continent isn't represented anywhere. And that was the underlying issue.
Listen, the fact that people know that Africa is a continent but doesn't understand that there are multiple countries inside of Africa
Exactly.
is still crazy to me.
They're like, this shit's African.
Especially when you consider,
Okay.
when we say everyone's from Africa, you have to look at like south from the most southern part of
Everyone
Africa
is
up
not
to
from
the most
Africa.
northern part
Yes.
of Africa.
Yeah.
Most of us, a lot of us,
Right.
are.
Right. Yeah,
A
no,
lot.
absolutely.
And
yeah.
how it just ranges like that.
For
Like
sure.
the people range.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, I just needed to mention that because some people just be throwing some shit out, which is crazy.
yeah.
You know.
So,
Like when Kathy Hilton said that she is 3000 BC Chinese
Stop.
based on a feeling.
I know what you were.
That was my
referring
crazy white lady comment of the week.
here, I will spread this.
No, I think we
Oh,
got
you
those.
already
Yeah,
got
we
it.
got it.
No,
Thank you, man.
No, that's something else.
Oh no, here, yeah, give us this. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
So, so that's one thing. They decided to make a Pan-African product. Second, they decided, you know what? Let's give the world a taste of Africa as a whole. So within 80 kilometers of the distillery grows
Oh.
sugarcane.
That smells like, okay, it smells like a rum.
We're gonna get
Okay.
to that in a second. So within 80 kilometers of the distillery grows sugarcane. That's what we use in our vodka. 99% of the vodkas we drink are going to be corn, grain, or potato. We are the 1% that makes our vodka with sugarcane.
Bruh, This is fucking good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get to that part.
Oh,
yeah.
The gin is the flagship product of the company.
Yes, and she slaps.
Yes. So we've got 4 gins. We've got our classic African dry gin, which is a copper pot distilled corn distillate, where the botanicals steep in the mash bill for 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
Baobab fruit is the key ingredient, the unique African ingredient in the product. And then we source that from Ghana and Zambia, sea salt from Botswana, juniper from Kenya, and everything else comes from South Africa. We have.
May I interject super quickly? Just because I'm curious, and I feel like a lot of people listening are going to be very curious as well. Just the sourcing of juniper from where you're doing it. Can you talk about that a bit more? Because people, I feel, just overwhelmingly would never equate juniper with anywhere in Africa. But
juniper grows
everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean, I'm just giving them an avenue into more information, because they're gonna be like, "What you talking about, Justin? That's not true."
The cool thing about gin is that by category, it just needs juniper.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. And then you can
gin
add
without juniper is vodka.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you can add anything else in addition to that. So you can have a gin that's all juniper. I haven't come across that one, but I'm pretty sure there's
it probably exists.
And then you can have a gin that has like 25, 30 botanicals, right? And so with gin has an opportunity to literally be culture in a bottle.
I have one comment to make.
Yes.
Because everyone who knows me knows I am not a gin bitch. However, this is giving the same energy as the Leo conversation. Bayab gin has been the only gins that I have liked.
Boom.
And I ran with it heavy last summer when I did the creamsicle.
Thank you for
and that was thank you for a gin that made me want to play with gins. And it was before I was even at Rogers Park Social. When I was using it, it was when I was at that other place that we don't talk about anymore. But that was my introduction to it through Broy, Ambrosia. Just dropped a book too about cider, something else. But like no. So it's like, not all, but I still don't fuck with gin, but I fucks with Bayab.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I always feel like, and we can talk about this later, because I can go on a tangent about this, but I will simply just say, all you got to do is give us a chance.
Yeah.
Right? Let me introduce you to the product. Let me introduce you to the product in a cocktail. The juice is good. The story is great. And people have this thing about gin where they just like, they block it out, and really they're just talking about
juniper.
The London dry style production, which lends to a more juniper heavy, what they call Christmassy taste, and it's strong, which
and that's the more widely distributed. So that's what you have access to.
That is what is known.
Yeah.
But also, people can't differentiate ethanol from juniper. And so when we talk, because most gins are, 86 proof? Vodka is 80 proof, standard. It has to be 80 proof to be in America. Unless it's flavored gin, then it's 70 proof. If they drinking Hennessy or cognac, it's 80 proof. If they drinking whiskey, some whiskeys, it's 80 proof. It could be up to whatever, right?
Yeah.
But to turn around and say, well, gin, that's too strong. You're talking about the juniper, the spice from the juniper.
You're talking about the flavor profile. You're not talking about the strength of the alcohol. Yeah.
So let me introduce you to this in a cocktail. Most people won't even know that there's gin in it until I tell them.
Yep.
Anyways, so that's the product. That's Bayab. And then released last year in August, Sango African Agave. Agave is grown in Africa or throughout Africa for the last 150 years, and we've only been using it in distillation for the last 30.
Can you pass me the gold?
Yeah, of course.
That is our repo. That's our repo agave.
Yes.
So let's get into the ethos that it is not called tequila. It's not a tequila. It is an agave spirit. That's
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Anything outside of the protected lands of Mexico that can produce agave that you can call tequila has to be called something else. Whether it's mezcal, whether it's raicilla.
Yeah.
We're actually more comparable to a raicilla
Okay.
than tequila because we're a blend of two different agave plants.
Okay.
Agave
Very nice.
grows across the world. We don't exactly know how the agave plants that we use got to Africa. There's different stories. However, there was a
You
crop
know how
shortage.
it happened.
Well, yeah.
And then Max, we're gonna push this to 11:05. Yes.
And we're back.
And we're back. Yes. But yeah, we don't have to speculate.
Yeah. So
It is what it is at this point.
Yeah. In the early 1990s, there was a crop shortage. There was a plague that killed a lot of agave crops, and so certain brands that at that point reached out to who knew Africa it had agave plants. Reached out to Africa and was like, "Hey, can we source some of your agave plants?" And they were like, "We're just using this for animal fodder and as fencing, to protect our homes from intruder animals." And so at that point, I guess Africa was like, "All right, well, I guess we should start making our own agave." They obviously couldn't land on a name, so they called it agave spirit. But look at that. Right, and here I am trying to introducing this agave to the public, and what's funny is Mexicans, or a lot of the Mexican culture, Mexican community, a lot of members of the Mexican community, they already know about the agave plants, Americana and Salmiana.
Yeah.
Those are the plants that the agave plants that we use, and they're hella excited.
Yeah.
Some of the black community is like, it ain't Don Julio, it ain't Patron.
It ain't.
And I'm like, actually,
the Migos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Right.
but we won't say that. But I won't go into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so everybody likes the repo. The repo is
really good. I just took a little sip of it. Yeah.
It's aged
about to have a
in
taste of that
reconditioned South African Pinotage barrels. So if you feel like the Blanco has a little too much heat, the repo is definitely mellow.
I feel like it's reversed for me. I feel like the Blanco was like super smooth and clean, and the repo's where I'm getting a little bit of like a little more flavor.
Yeah.
But on like initial smell test, I immediately was like rum.
Yeah.
Like it's giving.
It's sweeter.
But but not like in a bad way. I'm a rum bitch. So like, and I'm a mezcal girly, not
There you
really a tequila girly.
There you go.
But it's hitting my heart in a soft spot. And I'm not just saying that because of all the Dayquil.
Fair.
I'm glad you
I'm
enjoy
drinking
it.
responsibly.
It's different from your Mexican agave, which is more vegetable, more earthy.
Yep.
What some people call it like dirt, ground.
Yeah.
But
Terroir
which
driven.
speaks to the.
in wine, it would be the Prezines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is more like juicy bell pepper.
It's definitely green.
Yeah. And notes of chocolate or vanilla on the back end.
Cool.
It definitely works in a margarita still, though. I would drink the repo just neat on the rocks, truthfully, and I would just do like all kinds of cocktails with the Blanco.
May I say something in regards to what we are focused on right now?
Shoot.
I think that this is a beautiful expression of education while it's still accessible, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, it's just like it's nice to have that anchoring of education, but you're still invested in the product because it is palatable, but dynamic enough to where you're like, oh shit, like I can taste the difference. Like I know that it's not the the more widely distributed, products and the market, and with that, you've touched upon it a little bit, but I kind of want to dive in deeper about like the artistry and the craftsmanship that goes into these products as well.
Yeah. So ask me a specific question and I'll take you on the journey. How about that?
Yeah. So let's stay with the African agave.
So I'm still learning about just agave globally, and African agave. So
African agave just sounds like a vibe.
Yeah, right. And when people call it,
and I love alliteration,
like
so
this,
I'm just like, okay,
you mean it's an African tequila? No, it's an African agave. Let's get that.
I want an African agave margarita.
Normalize that. Yeah,
that's what I want.
Normalize that.
Would I say that? African agave margarita? Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. An African agave margarita.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I want that.
An African margarita.
I want an African margarita.
Listen, I've been in the industry
I don't drink margaritas.
I know you
Citrus
don't.
hurts my stomach.
I got you. No worries.
I've been in the industry for a very long time. Like, at this point in my life, if I can't relate or create the bridge between our products and products that's already established, and relate that to the guests, to the public, I'm not doing a community a service. I'm not doing myself a service.
Right.
I'm just here.
Right.
When I got recruited for this job, I felt like the stars aligned because I was seeing the rise, and when this opportunity came, I was like, yeah, oh yeah, it's go time.
Yeah.
And I've been in the industry for about 17 years. And so I see what a lack of education,
what moves versus what
looks like. Yeah, or it just,
or maybe that's too harsh to say.
Yes, I mean, we have a historic toxic relationship with alcohol as a whole, right? I mean, there's a whole thing about it, Yeah. And give us our guns, give us our booze. We want those two things make us American.
You're talking about community specific or
no, America. Just America
as a whole.
Yeah.
There's a whole prohibition era. You know what I'm saying? And so
I'm just looking for clarification. That's all.
It's also, drinking is also like a rite of passage for most of us. And so it's the one thing, that and sex, that we don't want to be told how to do. Right? We have to learn different communication styles so that education can always take place.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've seen what happens. We always have that conversation about like Long Island iced teas. You know how we feel about Long Island iced teas.
Yeah.
And I felt that way about Long Island iced teas too. But then I was like, you know what?
We lit.
Let me shake this and give it to you properly. Because that's the disconnect. The disconnect is black people want their drinks to be strong, and they think Long Island iced teas will get them there, or it's the only way that they can trust that what they're paying for is what they're getting. But I had an experience where a guy came in with his woman. He was on a date, what you would consider to be a YN, and he asked for a Long Island, and I made him a Long Island. I shook it. I made it the right way, and he sucked that bad boy down. Of course, he's not used to that. And so he asked for a second one. Now I know that the average person drinks 2 drinks in the first 45 minutes. It takes 15 minutes for a unit of alcohol to hit the bloodstream, and then it takes an hour for that for 1 unit of alcohol to pass through the bloodstream.
Yeah.
And so when he asked for a third one,
let's go Bassett.
Actually, no, that's not Bassett. When I was in college,
it should be Bassett,
I did
though.
a presentation.
I was like the way that you jumped in, I was like,
it's technically in Bassett for sure.
Yes.
I did when I was in college, I did a presentation on alcohol in the body, and so science. And so I was like, I promise you, when you get up, I promise you, when you stand, when he asked for the third one, I was like, well, you had your first two in the hour, within an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some water, and then I'm going to get you another one.
Right.
He was like, cool, but I don't really feel nothing. I was like, trust me, when you get up and go to the restroom, because you will, you're going to feel it. And then like 5 minutes later, he got up. He was like, yeah. I was like, you're welcome.
Yeah. Like,
It doesn't have to taste like death for you to enjoy it.
Right.
And if you really wanted something stronger than a Long Island, you just get a martini.
You're not wrong.
Right?
Not wrong at all.
So if I can, and then it was that moment I was like, all right, well, if I can just capture hearts one by one like that, then we get that. Now I ain't gonna get everybody, but I'll get enough to where they can carry that
Out.
to someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how that spreads.
Yeah.
So-
I remember when I just have a goddamn that I love to death. Love to death.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna drop the brand name. I'm just gonna drop the environment because
Okay.
he's just like, we ain't going nowhere. Because he's like, Justin, like, you go to bougie ass fucking places and they ain't got like this cognac that I'm looking for. Then I got this specific vodka that I'm looking for. And I was just like, why are you looking for that? And
Exactly.
it is like, it's because of what I see. And I was like, okay, well, do you enjoy it? He's just like, I don't care about like enjoying it. It's just like, I care about how it makes you feel.
What does that mean though?
He could never fucking tell you.
Exactly.
He could never fucking tell you.
And if you're gonna
And
go,
it drove me insane.
and
Still
that's-
to this day, because, and I will tell you off mic, the brands. It's crazy.
that's a form of compliance though.
Yes, it is.
Right? Because
Absolutely.
if you can consciously form that type of feeling of like, all right, this place ain't got Grey Goose, or this place ain't got, I don't know, Hennessy or whatever.
I can't go there.
You can turn around and form that same thought about having brands that actually give a fuck about you.
That's the whole
Like
thing.
like you could,
because
never
it,
once
because
have
it
you-
seems like it's such a one-way interaction.
Exactly.
Right? It's just like, this is what I'm expecting versus like, this is the responsibility to me. This is the dialogue in regards to my community and so on and so
But
forth.
that's
And
the vibe
the
about.
thing.
But that's the vibe about like most things now. There are enough options of things now that people can do that. Like me personally, as soon as I find out you've done something that fucks with me or anyone in my community, I no longer fucks with you.
yeah.
I legitimately will rearrange my lifestyle. Like people are like, I don't know what I'll do without Amazon. I've never had Amazon. I
Yeah.
go to
I
stores.
said that
go
for the
do
longest
things.
time, and then like my grocery store was Whole Foods, and they bought that. So
Well, that's what I'm saying. But you can go somewhere else.
That is
but
entirely true.
you're going there because it's convenient,
Correct.
and people are still drinking the same things because it's convenient
That's
to
fair.
them,
And that's compliance.
and that's
And
compliance.
That is compliance.
Like-
Absolutely.
Make the decision for me, right?
Yeah,
Like, and I got to talk about the Black community because it's Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
But the Latin community are building pillars. They have Latin restaurants. At this point, not in a hating way, but when I hear about a new Latin restaurant that comes out, I'm like, damn, we got another one? How many more do we need? Now,
It's all community.
it's all community.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, they make sure that there's Latin-owned products at this Latin-owned. It all coincides.
Or you're
with
going
each
in
other.
a direction that like, ooh, I love
Yeah,
so much,
we had-
and it
yes.
just, it already has me fucking heated. But yeah,
Yeah,
I feel you.
we get stuck at the they ain't got Grey Goose, or they don't got
right. Right.
this, and I'm sitting here like, well, have you ever asked why don't they have Black-owned products? I know it can be a little irritating coming into a spot and be like, well, y'all if y'all Black-owned spot, y'all need to have Black-owned products. From a capitalist and an American perspective, they can do whatever they want to do, right? However,
Yes, speak on it.
you made a comment that spoke to equity, and versus equality, and I'm right there with you.
yeah.
Right.
Like, all right, we here already. Our job is to create a brand a space that people can feel comfortable being that. At that point, it don't matter what products we have. So why not give us a chance?
Can I just say something about that?
Sure.
I just feel wholeheartedly, as a community, we need to just do better about supporting the items that are in our community, and that is something that needs to be on a very substantial level and discussion. And I understand that people need to be led towards that, but again, the reality is that if you're not in certain spaces, if you're not in certain ads, you're not in certain, elements of visibility, it's just like, oh, okay, well, I guess I can just give them a chance. You're rolling the dice amongst your own community, and that is a very, very, very big thing. Yeah. And that is one of the personal attributes of this conversation for me, because it's just so this is absolutely phenomenal. And these are the things that we like to highlight in community and artistry, and we're gonna talk briefly about kind of this integration into the American market and all of those things as well. But to be overlooked by the person next to you is one of the most disappointing things, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially when you're being overlooked by. So in Chicago, it's no secret that it's very big pay to play here, and you don't see it. You don't see these things when you work behind the bar. I mean, our vision is very right. Even for us, I would like to think that bartenders have a very wide field of vision. And even still, once you get to the brands, once you start doing brand work, it's a whole different kind of ball game. And so once I started to see how much of a pay to play.
Don't touch. I'm sick.
I'm not. I'm just. I was your arm was near me, and I just was saying hello. But yeah,
that's touching.
Once I started to see that that's what it was, and that's how most places are run, it disgusted me. I'm right. I felt like, why are we even doing this then? Why are we even here? Because we're fighting such an uphill battle, and it's even our own businesses, that do that to us.
You guys want to know why?
Go for it. Yeah.
Because, and this has been in my brain since Justin started with his commentary also on this subject. It's because we have systematically been taught, even through color lines, that not all of us are equal and some of us are better than others. As not an American, African American.
Yes.
Even when I came to the States, my family, Afro-Caribbeans, are you are better than African Americans.
That is wild.
It is the infighting of it all. And that's what I'm saying. I fear that in 2016, when everyone realized Beyonce was black, that's when shit started to change.
Yeah.
And all of the black people are it doesn't matter if you're Carlton or you're Will, we have to be in it together.
Yeah.
And it'd be hard.
To build on that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just having this conversation. This has been a prominent topic over the last week. We think that we can transition ourselves out of class.
Yeah,
and we
cannot.
We conflate classism with racism.
Yes,
and so we yell racism first when really
it's
what the shit is classism.
Yes,
that was speak on it. Speak on it. Yeah,
when the Pilgrims came here from England, these wasn't poor people. They were of a different class.
Mm-hmm.
They were of a higher class because they're the only ones that could afford to get up out of where they was at anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no amount of money. As a person of color, there's no amount of money that you can make that will buy you out of class.
No.
Because they're going to remind you every single time. I mean, you're still a nigga in a coupe.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so why not just hold this shit down? Like, yeah, once we hold this shit down to where we feel good and completed and happy about it, then we can spread that love to everyone else. You had mentioned African products in the American market just a minute, and how you want to touch on that, and I can't help but sit here and think, why do we have to touch
Exactly.
Right,
That's what I'm saying.
I was like that.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah. Grey Goose, we know where Grey Goose is from. No one asks, well, how did you get that here, and what's the significance? No, Grey Goose made their own way.
Yeah.
Hendrix made their way. No one bats an eye on where Hendrix is from,
Yes. Right.
where Grey Goose is from.
I feel like people try to ask questions that they feel like are of importance, but it's not important unless you're black or you're brown,
it's not important
or it's
enough
like,
to support.
It's just.
Hey man, listen.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine who just came from a job interview. Side note, a job interview at a place that I used to work at.
Mm-hmm.
And she interviewed to be the GM. Now this woman is qualified, and I mean qualified. She just came back from Paris, completed her somm. She's a master.
I think I know who this is.
You probably do.
Yeah.
And so she was telling me about this. She was telling me about this experience, this interview experience, and I was like, oh, it was with this person. Let me guess. It turned into the interview turned into a long ass monologue of him talking about how they're a little shop, and him questioning you about qualifications that don't even pertain to you as it pertains to the job that you're applying for.
Yeah.
You a somm. You a whole ass master somm. Who the fuck cares about how to build an old fashioned when you ain't even finna be behind the bar?
Yeah.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? Like what? And as a woman, and I was like, he only did that to you because you're a woman.
Exactly.
You're a black woman, and he feels threatened by. I'm sorry.
Nope.
This person feels threatened by black people, women specifically, who has the confidence to big their own chest up.
Listen, do you think me calling fine dining restaurants and being like, hi, my name's Reba, I want to come in and stage, and they're like, sick, we got you, we'll see you then. And then I show up looking like me, and they're like, Reba? And I'm like, yeah, say something else now.
It's maddening.
And I just like walk around existing like that all the time, and people are like, why are you mad? Hello.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, just give me a chance. Like, put me on here and don't make me feel like I came here on my hands and my knees.
Yes.
Right.
I came here out of curiosity.
Right.
And I'm waiting for you to pique my interest. Right?
That part, because the reality is just like, this is a two-way fucking street here.
Yeah.
Okay, like anyone can decide to like this ain't it. Sorry.
Have been
just because you gave me the opportunity to walk up in here, don't mean that I want to continually walk up in here.
So, compliance, but also what we used to call freedom. And feel free to correct me on this, but this is something that I feel heavy in my heart and mind. What we used to call freedom, we now call autonomy. And it's easy to call it autonomy now because freedom is a buzzword now that makes different people feel different things. But also, because you can use the term autonomy, you can attach a price to it. And I was telling people, I was saying to somebody like, man, there used to be a time where we would kill or die for our autonomy. Let's keep using that word, autonomy. That would get us killed or you killed. I mean, not every slave ship made it here successfully. Some of them feel like, man, we finna burn this whole bitch down, but we gotta die too.
I mean,
but
my ship didn't make it past the Caribbean.
There you go.
So
there you go.
You know,
heard.
No. So
to finish that point.
Yeah.
And so now that we can put a price on autonomy, and autonomy is tied to circumstance, everybody has different circumstances, so nobody is willing to do what really needs to be done for the greater good, because they're, and they've successfully made us feel like we need to break from community to think of self.
What you are explaining right now is colonialism, and that came from like everyone wanting their freedoms, their autonomies, whatever. But and I'll use the example of Trinidad with COVID. We had less than 5% of the population be affected by it, because even though people have their freedoms, they have the autonomy to realize what's better for the entire group. And America made the mistake of being states and not countries. And everyone thinks that their freedom and their autonomy from wherever the fuck they're at is the one. Whereas other countries can work together, being like, oh shit, we all in this together. America specifically, European countries specifically,
and
have
as
a
we
different
are
idea.
As we are wrapping up the word, like, I mean, it's like, yes.
I'm looking at the
Do I
bottom
get
of
more
this.
money? Do I make extra money today?
Listen, I was just like, it's gonna be great.
We don't make no money.
I was like, but this is crazy because okay, so
Y'all are getting this.
I
for
have
free.
2 questions.
Yeah.
I have one question. In closing, Nui, but I would imagine that you have one.
Wait,
as
are
well.
we? I'm sorry. Are we closing?
We about to.
Dang, because
we
this has been such a good.
I know. I
feel
was like,
like,
it's
man,
a
we
whole
could.
thing.
That's how we get
it's
you.
Just like it's a, it's a kickback.
Yeah.
You know. So the biggest thing that I was gonna ask is like, and I want to do it in a way to where it isn't othered, right? Like, because I don't want African spirits to be seen as othered. I don't want, Black community to be seen as othered, like, or any of that. The biggest thing that I am wondering is just like, how does the portfolio support the culture of community where it's operational? That's the biggest thing. Like, in regards to making sure that there's the education there are the resources, so you're not seen
I imagine it's
as,
still a growing community.
Oh no, for sure, absolutely, absolutely. But I'm curious to see if there's anything that is kind of centered specifically outside of it being a growing.
I gotta say that, again, to not in my desire to not be a leader, I'm trying to find what works, and different ways that I can show up. This job allows me an opportunity to collaborate versus spearhead. No pun intended.
Oh yeah, I was like, what?
And so even in Black History Month, like I've yet to come up with something where I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do, so let me do it.
Yeah.
It's always what can we do?
Yeah.
And I try to tie in a community aspect to it.
I also think that that's part of the problem that we're having, is that we're so focused on doing these community-driven initiatives that are like Black focused, Black centered, but everyone has a different definition of what Black means, and it alienates people within your own community from being a part of it.
Agreed.
So when campaigns are coming out for all these other spirits, they're not culturally motivated.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is, because it's a battle that we seem to be losing repeatedly. And when you try to do something different, they say you're not Black enough, you're not with the community enough. I think we have to stop asking those questions.
Yeah.
And just have conversations as such, because the only reason that we got here is because some white dudes on ships made it like this.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So there's a lot that we can do, but I don't think the three of us are going to come up with a solution or an answer to that.
But I also
question.
feel like it's twofold, right? Because you want to acknowledge.
We can acknowledge it without solving. And the problem is based on, I'm only saying this based on the question that you asked, you are asking for a solution. We don't need to provide the solutions.
I agree to that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like, I think one of the best things about this company is they allow me to kind of like do my thing. You know, there isn't a set culture that when I accepted this position, they were like, all right, these are the things that we want to hit, and every single time you activate out here in the world, this is what I want. This is what we want to see.
Yeah.
It's kind of a, hey man, we fuck with you. We already know, you know, how influential you can be, how in the community you can be. Let's see this grow organically.
Yeah.
And let's try some things and report, and let's come back together and see what's worth sticking and what's not worth sticking.
Yeah.
We had a guy in the West Coast who is a member of the LGBTQ community, and he through VUSA supported drag shows throughout California.
Oh yeah.
And other types of like those of other types of events similar to that,
Like queer culture events.
Yep. And I was like, damn man, that's so cool. I am trying to get people to taste the product before I could even get to that part.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, that's why when I did the like creamsicle situation, they promoted it on like the news with Pride beverages available at Rogers Park Social. So like, yeah, there are ways to get things into the community, and then, you know, you can like double down and slap them with this is who made the product. This is what it stands for. But I think that like we're past the era of the early 2000s where you say something is black owned, you have to buy that thing.
exactly.
Oh, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
We're very much past that, especially in this day and age. Absolutely.
Well, now I just started to collaborate with a young woman named Day, who runs Bloom Collective, and they do a queer happy hour at Brownsville Winery
Nice.
every first and third Thursday.
Nice.
And we give them introductory cocktails, and that shit is bussing. Like there was one at this past Thursday, and when I'm working, I'm in sweats, and so I'm dropping off product, but I'm just like, damn, man, next time I come here, I need to, because it's sexy as manga, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta meet it.
Yeah. And everybody looking good, and everyone's having a really good time. They are building something amazing with that, and so that's just the start for us.
Yeah.
You know, and as the company grows, as I continue to show up in different communities and a community at large, I can find some space to
I love it.
show up the way I'm being asked to show up.
Yes.
So, Lavell,
Yes.
in closing, how was your time with us?
Man, this was amazing. I feel like we could talk for a whole other hour.
I know.
I mean,
Maybe two of them.
Yeah, I was just
You know
like,
what I'm
we
saying?
can. Yeah, I was just like, we can,
This
kick
was
it all the
amazing.
time.
And now I'm ready to make some drinks for some people.
Yeah, I was just like, so let's do it.
Oh.
But so another thing, how do the people find you if you want to be found? And how they find the brand, portfolio?
Yeah.
Drop it.
First off, thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
I really appreciate everything.
Welcome to the TOS
and
fam, homie.
Thank
Word.
you to
Yes.
Blind Barber. You don't find many spaces that allows the community to build community within that. Like that's hard. And so that's that. You can buy out gin, Vusa Vodka, Sango, Agave, all on Instagram. You can find me at the Bar Twinders, Twin, TWIN.
Come on, twin.
Is your brother a bartender?
He was, yeah.
LOL.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I was in the industry longer than he was. And, when he came in, side note, he just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And that was great to see. You can find me at the Bar Twinders. I got quite a few things coming up. I got a Galentine's Day trivia at Taste 222 next Thursday. I had to reschedule the Sweeter Than Sugar, a Tropical Black History Month party until later on this month, but I'll definitely let you guys know about that. But
Okay.
yeah, follow me and let's talk. I'm a very personable person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look at you
hit me up.
personing.
There
Crazy.
we go. I was just like, me. No, no.
Had to get that one last Leo in. We know who you
Very
are.
valid.
So yeah,
All good.
thank y'all for having me. I appreciate
Of course. Thank you so very much, Nariba.
Yeah.
How you feeling? And I'm gonna kick it over to you for any closing words. and I'll
I'm
take it
feeling
away.
fine. I ain't got nothing more to say, really. I read him for filth at the beginning. So we're good.
Yeah,
it. Heard.
great.
And all the products are, in fact, lovely. I
Yeah,
don't be
this is
lying.
phenomenal.
If I don't like it, I'd say it.
Heard.
Yes,
Heard.
Yes.
I'm glad y'all enjoy everything. I look
Thank
forward
you.
to making these cocktails
Yeah.
for y'all soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you?
Thank you. Well, as per usual, to do the things.
That you got to do.
Yes. Shout out to the homies at Blind Barber for hosting this necessary conversation. And then also thank you, Lavell, for coming and supporting and all of the things. Thank you. And for me, I am Justin Arnett Graham, and you can find me on Instagram at thisisbiko. But then also, make sure that you show some love. Terms of Service Podcast on Instagram. Terms of Service literally everywhere. Review, subscribe, all of that shit, which I hate saying, but it is necessary.
Oh my goodness. I never thought about the fact that we don't say our
We've never said it.
podcast Instagram.
I know, but we're
Dang.
doing it right now.
That's crazy.
We're doing it right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, follow that.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
And Nariba, is that you in closing?
Oh, yeah. My name is Nariba Shepherd. You can find me at Rebaru, Rebaru, and that's that. We'll see you 2 weeks from now.
Peace!